Alright, here we are for another SOM block draft. Um, Looking at this pack, I mean, there's three cards really to consider. Pith Driller, Shattered Angel, and Pure Steel Paladin. Um, Conversion Chamber can sometimes be okay, not great. And then there's Trespassing Soul Eater, Slash Panthers. The real other, I mean, I guess Hovermere is playable, and Probe is obviously playable. Not many playables in this pack. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Paladin. If we get equipment, he can just be completely nuts. He also fits with the aggressive white strategy, which I really like. If I wasn't taking Paladin, I'd probably be taking Pith Driller over the Shattered Angel. Um, I think the next person is going to take the Driller. Um, he's colorless. It's probably what they're going to follow up with. I don't expect to wheel anything from this pack. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playables. So, I mean, maybe we get the convert, but probably not. And yeah, just taking Paladin here. Okay, we get past a pack with not very much. The best two cards are probably Beast Within and Gliss's Scorn. And just noting that we're, like, it looks like they took a rare, so obviously we don't really know what they're grabbing. The Leeching Bite, Beast Within, Gliss's Scorn. I mean, this is one of the best cards, too, in the pack. I mean, they're all green. I think we could just go ahead and take the Gremlin Mine here. None of these cards really fits with a aggressive white strategy, which the Pure Steel Paladin is aiming for. Gremlin Mine kind of fits in that deck, especially when you pick up a Remember the Fallen in the next few packs, and it's colorless, so it kind of keeps us on target. Well, hopefully other people will just fight over the green. I mean, there could be an argument for taking like a Gliss's Scorn there. I think it's slightly better than Beast Within, but I'm really not certain. And like the person to our right probably isn't going to draft green passing all those green cards, and we could have just maybe moved into an infect type strategy, but I want to just try and follow up with our paladin. And here we got pretty good gift in getting a shrine. Grim Affliction. Interesting to note that black might be open. Like they took a common. There's either two foil rares or a foil rare and a rare or a foil uncommon, or they took a common. So they probably took something like Volt Charge, and red might be getting cut from the other side, but it looks like white's pretty open. Like we see the Remember here in the Shrine. I mean, we're taking the Shrine. It's the strongest card. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're probably not going to wheel anything. Like it's just going to be the garbage cards. If we do like end up with the Sensor Splicer, that would be kind of cool. Having the Shrine here, and then Sensor Splicer is pretty good if we end up getting equipment, since we're going to have an extra creature. Well, Praetor's Grasp is in this pack. I don't really like playing black-white, because you notice, like, you just run into mana troubles. Praetor's Grasp is a pretty powerful card, though. I think a lot of people just underrate this card. Like, you can get a land out of your opponent's deck, if nothing else, but it oftentimes just turns into something like Steel Hellkite, where it's just the best possible card in their deck. Like, you can, depending on your deck and so many artifacts in this format, you can often just play their bomb. I think I'm just going to go ahead and stick on the white color and take the Exclusion Ritual. Though slow, it is a removal. And it just keeps us on color. We passed the Grim Affliction. We passed a bunch of green, so the person to our left might be like green-black. In fact, at this point, and it looks like white's going to be open for us. The Volt Scourge is an alright card, but I think the Remember the Fallen just fits better with our deck, with the Shrine and Gremlin Mine already. And it's also a powerful late game card for white. I think it's pretty easy choice here. Here the Inquisitor Exarch fits excellently in with our aggressive white strategy. I don't really see a reason to take any of these other picks. So it is interesting to note that green is just, I mean, as always in this pack, is just really underdrafted. So I assume the guy to our right, like, I think red is being sucked up. We haven't seen an Artillerize. We haven't seen a Volt Charge. I think we've seen one Slash Panther. In fact, we might have opened the Slash Panther. I'm trying to remember if it was in the first or second pack. Here, Suture Priest. Oh, God, Mind Calling is such a good card. I mean, it's like, we either go the aggressive white strategy with what we got, or we commit to another color which would probably be blue here, and go with the Mind Coin, just because of the power of Mind Coin in itself. I'm probably not going to see a lot of black in the next pack, and I'm probably not going to see a lot of red in the third pack, so I mean, I'm leaning toward the Mind Coin here, even though the Suture Priest, I mean, is so amazing with, like, Shrine. But Mind Coin is such a powerful card that I'm just going to go with it. Here, the Impaler Shrike. Like, Whip Flare, while it's a decent board removal, just not amazing in this format, since there are just so many artifact guys. It often just misses. Impaler Shrike, while it's double blue here, it doesn't necessarily need to come out on the fourth turn. It's a decent late game card. Works pretty well with our Remember the Fallen too. I'm just going to go ahead and take the Probe here. We don't really like to be playing Loxodon Convert. Probe kind of narrower deck. Yeah, I honestly don't know if committing to blue here is the best bet. Mind Coin's a very powerful card, but as I said, Suture Priest in an aggressive white strategy is also an excellent card. It's also a card that, like, if they play a Suture Priest against us, it really shuts down our Shrine. Especially since we're blue-white and we're going to have a hard time managing it. I'm going to take the Soul Eater since he's the only thing that I can really play here. Probably not play him, I'm just going to go and hide him right away. And we just got a bunch of crap here. I guess I'll just take the Numbing Dose in case they have something like a Horde Smelter. And we just need our Steel Hellkite, and we just need to lock it down. Since blue-white we don't have a lot of answers, that might be our answer. And again, nothing here. I guess I'll just take the Shrine. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'd ever play something like Armed with Aether. I'm just going to go ahead and take the Betrayers. I don't think anybody's even playing the Betrayers, but I guess you never know. In fact, we might want them playing Betrayers when we're running Shrine. As much as Darksteel Plate works with Pure Steel Paladin, I think Divine Offering's clearly the right pick for us here. This is interesting Infect pack we got going. I'm sure the Infect guy is going to be happy to see all this. I don't think it's worth taking, like, Spread the Sickness here and splashing it, since we have such a strong card in Divine Offering. We might wheel, like, a Core Prowler from that pack. Wow, and then we get to go for the Throw Pass to us. Hand of Viridian Corruptor. So I guess they might have opened a powerful rare. I mean, I would have expected the guy to our left to be black-green, and they didn't take either of those, which is a little disconcerting. I don't really like taking the Tine Strike here, because I don't think we're going to be going for a Infect strategy. I think maybe I just take the Ichor Wellspring. God, I mean, just seeing these... Like, we've already passed the spread. I don't really like playing black-white, especially going into that in the third pack. I think we'd still like to hold the blue-white course with the Mind Coin and the Impaler Shrike. Black in the third pack is going to be a lot of Infect guys. I think I might be able to get some use out of this Wellspring if I get, like, Lindhawks in the next pack, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. And this is another fairly weak pack. I think Copper Carapace. I mean, Skinwing kind of acts as a creature and works with the Pure Steel, but I think the Carapace is just, gosh, we really need creatures. It's the more aggressive card, and I think it's the more consistent and better card than Skinwing. So I think we're going to go ahead and take it. We're going to hope to pick up some creatures later. Serum Raker's a decent body. though it's our mana's looking a little problematic, I'm going to go ahead and grab him. Part of me really wants to take... I think Lumen Grid Gargoyle might be the pick here. Like, he's a big finishing body. He's colorless. He's something we need for our deck. Master's Call isn't horrible, since it works well with our shrine, works well with equipment. And, but it doesn't come back to Remember the Fallen. I think Lumen Grid Gargoyle, being the big flyer, even though he's a little vulnerable, is something that our deck's probably going to just want to finish off an opponent. Hopefully we get something like Vivisection to wheel, but I doubt that from this pack. Silver Skin Armor, while normally not playable, might be playable with our Pure Steel Paladin. Especially if we get some Metalcraft stuff like a Spire of Serpent later. I'm trying to think if we have any reason why we might play the Quicksilver Geyser. Quicksilver Geyser is pretty decent with a Mind Cooling. It's also decent with like a Exclusion Ritual. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and take the Geyser here. Because of those interactions. Well, we need some early creatures. I think Skyhunter is clearly the pick. We don't have anything to sack Wellspring. We haven't seen any Rusted Slashers. We just need some ways to get beaters out fast. I think Skyhunter is a little bit better than Gust Skimmer, just because of the toughness and the fact that it's not an artifact, and we don't really have any Metalcraft at the moment that we need to activate. It's also a white card to work with our shrine. And here's the Rusted Slasher. That's kind of nice. It works pretty well with our Wellspring. Gonna go ahead and grab him. I mean, right now, just seeing what we were past in those first few packs, I kind of wish we were the Black-Green Infect deck. Instead of sticking to our Pure Steel Paladin plan. Especially since we only have, what, one equipment. Maybe we'll end up picking some decent equipment in the next pack. Didn't see any Flare Husks. Unfortunately, those would have been a strong get in this pack. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Oculus. I think it's the best card here. I might get a Vivisection on the wheel. Just hate the Emissary there. We did not get the Vivisection. I mean, it's interesting, if we stuck to our white guns, I might have just ended up having Go for the Throat and Spread the Sickness, and not having the Mind Cooling here. So I wouldn't have Divine Offering, I wouldn't have Mind Cooling. I don't know what the other picks would have ended up being, but they would have been black, obviously. I mean, all these cards are kind of terrible. I don't think I'd play anything. I think Concussive Bolt's the one that might be most used by an opponent. Definitely not playing the Vigilance guys. Just too slow, too expensive. Well, we achieved our task of getting some creatures in this pack and picking up an equipment. However, we didn't really get much else. It's also important to note that we have a lot to do on turn 2. but not a lot to do on turn 3. So mirrors could be decent for our deck. Like, we have pretty expensive spells to ramp into, so we might want the extra mana. We got a lot of 4-drops to ramp into. And even Quicksilver guys are like getting that out a turn earlier with a mirror, allowing us to get Mind Cooling after Limgrid Gargoyle on the board a bit quicker with a little bit less pressure is fairly powerful. So I think mirrors are going to be strong in our deck. And hopefully pick up another equipment or 2 here to work with our Pure Steel Paladin. Like, I'd probably end up running something like a quarter shield over the probe just because of the interaction with Paladin. Well, this is kind of a weak pack. I think Heavy Arbalest is just going to be what we want here. I mean, I see an Embersmith in the pack too, and Heavy Arbalest kind of solves the Embersmith problem. It is an equipment to work with the Paladin. We might have a lot of creatures with the tokens, just to shoot. Like, I wonder if I don't think we'll end up wheeling a mirror. We might end up wheeling like Kemba Skygar. Let's see, there's 1, or the Soul Parry, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's not many. I don't know if we're gonna wheel anything from this pack. There's not that many cards for us, or for anybody for that matter. If we do, wouldn't be horrible to wheel something like even Twisted Image or Soul Parry, where we have a decent sideboard option. Perilous Mirror is definitely the best card here. Again, they took the rare. If we wheel a Strider Harness, that might not be horrible. Same with like Stoic Rebuttal or the Snap Cell Glider. All might be relatively okay in our deck. I mean, Glider's kind of weak with our artifact count, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I think we do have an Arbalest, so it's important to note that because of the Salanton, the nice combo. Okay. We saw no red in pack 1, and then we get... They've taken a common and a rare, unless there are some foils over the Scrap Melter. Trying to decide if it's worth taking that over the Necropede and splashing. I don't think so at the moment, just because the commitments for our mana are so tight, and Necropede is a very solid card on its own. We might end up wheeling the Salanton here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playables, so it's possible. Gosh, that's just crazy seeing that right here. Somebody's gonna get shipped a 4th pick. Scrap Melter after we saw 0 red in the first pack. I mean, we hardly saw any red in last pack too. So that must have been a busted pack. I mean, there might be a Horde Smelter, Carnifex Demon, something like that that just came out. And this pack, again, very kind of weak for us. I mean, we don't really like to play Trigon here because if we're going to be playing something that boosts creatures, it would rather be an equipment for Pure Steel Paladin. That being said, like Barrage Ogre just really shuts us down. I mean, the red deck's going to just tear us apart, I think. Well, there's 2 Barrage Ogres, so we saw one in the last pack. Though, since the person's going to get Scrap Melter, probably both Ogres aren't going to end up in their pile. So this isn't going to be a variable 2-1 for us. I think just taking the Trigon is the best bet, because it might make our deck, though it's still relatively weak for us. Just for the reasons that I mentioned in terms of, we'd rather be playing equipment than a Trigon. Like, we really haven't seen any white cards. It feels like they might have shifted into white at this point, which is very odd since, like, we got past Remember the Fallen. I mean, this could be an arguable pick if they were already heavy in white. We got past the late Exarch, and then we got past the Suture Priest. And we got past the Shrine of Loyal Legions, what, 3rd? So, I really wouldn't expect them to be in white over there. I think Glinthawk is the pick here. It works with my Wellspring. And we got a decent number of early drops just to bounce for the guy. Riddlesmith isn't bad, but I think Glinthawk is just a better pick. It also pumps up the shrine. I think I'll end up playing a Quarter Shield if I get it here. Cooling Deus doesn't seem amazing, as we don't really have... We have some interesting stuff to sack in Necropede, Perilous Mirror, Oculus. But we just don't have a lot of... We don't have any Proliferate yet. And I think a Quarter Shield, since it works so well with Pure Steel Paladin, works at getting Glinthawk out a bit faster. Just going to be the right pick. I mean, it's possible we could get a shield in the next pack. It's more likely to see a shield than a Deus, but I'm going to go ahead and take the shield. Deus also works pretty well with Remember the Fallen. So there could be arguments for taking it, but I think we have enough Remember targets that it's not crucial. Yeah, and here we see that there is a shield in this pack. I think Dispense Justice is going to be the pick. We don't really have any removal or ways to get rid of Horde Smelter, and this offers us the way if people decide to throw him out and risk him. We got a few flyers, so it's quite possible we're swinging in the air and they're swinging back on the ground. Yeah, I think Dispense is clearly the best pick here. Life Staff is actually a very welcome card for a deck. Like right now, I'm leaning toward just not playing the probe and going with 16 lands. We already are a little short on creatures. So now Skyguard or Iron Mirror. We're not splashing any red. I talked about how it's good to ramp up to the 4-drops, but Skyguard's a decent offensive flyer. I think he fits in really well with our deck, and he definitely, we're already missing 3-drops, so I think he's going to be just stronger. Like, we'd rather, instead of dropping him turn 2, we'd rather drop one of these and then Skyguard turn 3. So I think he's clearly the pick there. Rebuttal will be nice to have, probably for the sideboard. I'll just start scooping up just random stuff. Though Spellbound might be a little bit better to take there. Glimmer Post. I don't think it's going to hurt us just to take the foil post. I mean, now it's really just a matter of deciding what's too slow for our deck. Could be we don't really have anything to combo with the Oculus, so I think we might just remove him. I mean, one of the problems we could face is that we have too much equipment and too few creatures, such that if we end up drawing like no Pure Steel Paladin and no creatures, our equipment just is going to sit there useless. So we will look at that in a sec. I'll just put the Quarter Shield with the 1-drops here instead of moving everything over. I mean, I think this looks like an okay deck so far. As I said, we don't really have anything to combo like with sacking the Oculus, even though he has a pretty good card. And we do want to just be casting. Like, you'll notice we don't have any blue until later turns. In fact, we have little blue at all. I mean, I think like a 10-7, or sorry, 10-6 mana base would probably work best, which means it might be more difficult for us to cast these, and we might rather play something like the Probe over one of them. However, I think they're both strong enough that it warrants keeping them in the deck, even if we go something like 10-6. And we do definitely want to get, like, we want to be casting Pure Steel on turn 2 if we have them, always. So I think it's definitely worth going for the 10-6 type mana base. I mean, maybe we actually take out a Quarter Shield for the probe since we have already 3 equipments. But I think he works well enough with Glinthawk. Said I would rather just go with what we got here. Yeah, I'm just going to go with this and go with the 10-6 mana base, I think. Yeah, I'm not going 11-5. I think that gets a little too risky. Now I will see you for round 1.